In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a larger than that figure. So I showed you in my previous video how to create a layered SVG from a coloring book page. So I'm going to use that same image to show you how to do the larger than that. So I have him here, and you can see over here each layer is separated. So I'm going to go up here to select all, and I'm going to group them. You'll see the group here so that you know it was successful. And this is so that everything that we resize is going to be equal. It's going to keep everything together at the same size. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change just my height to 21 or to 24. I'm only going to make him 2 feet high. You can see it's locked, so it's going to keep this the width the same. Then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to zoom out so that I can see it a little bit better. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to ungroup it. Now I'm going to start with my black layer, so I'm going to move my other layers to the side just for now. Some people like to keep them there and hide it, but I prefer to just move them to the side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a shape, and I'm going to select a square. Now this square will be the size of the paper that you're going to use. I have 8.5 by 11 paper, so I'm going to I'm going to unlock my square like I just did here. I'm going to change the width to 8 and the height to 10.5. And I know I'm going to need quite a few of these because I'm going to be slicing up my Olaf. So I'm going to put it to the side and I'm going to duplicate it several times. And then I'm going to start by putting it over Olaf and lining it up as best I can. Sometimes I'll arrange and move it to the back so I can see and get it very precise. So I have my Olaf selected, and I'm going to hold the Shift key and I'm going to select this square. I'm going to just do this to make it easier, and I'm going to slice. And you're going to delete the parts that you don't want. So I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to delete the gray parts. Now what I like to do is move Olaf this way now, and I'm going to rebuild him over here so that when I go to assemble him, it will be so much easier. Now you can either slice this way. If I do that, I'm going to miss a few pieces over here, over there. So I'm going to rotate this to 90 degrees, and then I can rotate my paper on my mat, and that will be so much easier. So I'm going to hold the Shift key and select my square and slice. So basically we're just going to slice apart every layer for each color, and I'm going to leave just a bit of a gap here so that I do know which piece is which when I go to assemble him. And I'm just going to slice this in half here. And if you have 12 by 12 paper, you can do an 11.5 by 11.5 square, but I know that I only have 8.5 by 11 paper. So I'm going to just do all of that. And now you notice here for our brown layer, he really doesn't have a lot of pieces, so instead of slicing it apart to make it easier, I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to contour out the opposite pieces. This is what I find to be the easiest instead of slicing. And once I slice this, I've got just the hair left, so I can see it will fit in my square. And sometimes I like to pull a square down and put the pieces here, and if I can piece them all together on one piece of paper, it will be so much easier than having to do multiple sheets of paper or different pieces. So I'm going to see if I can fit them all on one paper. If I can, I'll remove that square and I will attach all the layers. You don't have to remove the square. You could easily just keep the square there too. Some people like to do that. They think it makes it easier to pull the pieces off the mat, but it's really up to you. I like to save as much as I can for all of my paper. So let's see, I think we can fit everything. Even if we rotate it a little, that's going to be okay. This looks like it's behind, so we're going to move it to the front. And I'm going to rotate it a little, and then I'm going to move my square over here. I'm going to select these 3 layers, and I'm going to attach. And again, I'm going to put it over here. And because you created your Olaf from layers in here, it might be easiest for you to duplicate the Olaf and hide him, and then you'll have something to reference, or if you wanted to use him again, or you can do save and save as, and that will keep your original as the original SVG not sliced up and your second one sliced up. So then I'm going to go over here, and again I'm going to move this to the back because I just think it gives me a little better idea of how to slice this up. Alright, so I see that with Olaf's head I might be better off going with a circle, and I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to try and cut just his head off, which will be, I'm going to move it to the back so I can see it, and that will maybe be a little bit better for me to piece it back together. I don't have those 2 little pieces from his shoulder, so I think I'll be able to get that in. We'll have to see here. It looks pretty close. You could zoom in to try and get a better idea, but I think I've got it. So I'm going to slice him. And again, I'll just move him over to the side. And you can kind of do this, but I like to keep all the layers separate. And you'll notice that I didn't do the gray layer for his mouth or the orange layer for his nose because I know that they're going to fit on 8.5 by 11 paper. So I'm going to see here. Now sometimes I can see that this is just a tiny bit longer down by his foot, and I know that I can fit that on my paper if I do it the right way, but to be on the safe side, I'm going to just do this. And I can notice up here that I missed a little part of Olaf's head, but I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, but it might cut it out of my other paper. So now that we have this piece left, I'm just going to double check that it fits, and it does. And then we have all of our layers, and so I'm going to delete these. We don't need them. I'm going to go to Make It, and you'll be able to see all of our pieces. You're going to have to switch your paper size so that everything will fit. And I usually like to count out how many pieces, and I stack them up, and it makes it go a little bit faster for cutting purposes. But that's up to you how you like to do it. And then you'll cut them all out, and I'll do a separate video to show you how we can assemble it.